Since the beginning of time, humans have looked up at the sky and asked one question: where do we come from? Across thousands of years, two powerful stories have tried to answer that question. One is written in the most sacred book in the world. The other was carved into clay tablets buried beneath the sands of ancient Mesopotamia. Today, we explore both and ask, what if they're telling the same story? In the book of Genesis, the first book of the Bible, God creates the heavens and the earth in 6 days. On the first day, there was light. On the second, the sky. On the third, land and sea. By the 6th day, God had filled the world with life, animals, plants, and oceans teeming with creatures. But something was missing. So God reached down, took the dust of the earth, and shaped it with his hands. He breathed life into it, and the first man opened his eyes. His name was Adam. God placed Adam in a paradise called the Garden of Eden, a world of abundance where he lacked nothing. But Adam was alone. So while Adam slept, God took one of his ribs, and from it he formed Eve, the first woman, his companion, his equal. Together they lived in perfect harmony until a serpent appeared. The serpent whispered to Eve, "You will not die if you eat from the forbidden tree. You will become like God, knowing good and evil." Eve took the fruit. She gave it to Adam. And in that one moment, everything changed. Their eyes were opened. They saw themselves clearly for the first time. God, discovering what they had done, cast them out of the garden forever. From that day forward, humans would know pain, labor, and death, but also love, wisdom, and the ability to choose. This is the story of the fall, and for billions of people around the world, it is the story of us. The Anunnaki theory. But long before the Bible was written, another civilization was carving a very different creation story into clay. In ancient Sumer, modern-day Iraq, thousands of tablets were discovered describing beings called the Anunnaki. The name means, literally, those who from heaven came to earth. These stories are over 5,000 years old, predating the book of Genesis by more than 1,500 years. According to these tablets, the Anunnaki were not gods in the spiritual sense. They were beings from another world, from a planet called Nibiru, who arrived on Earth approximately 450,000 years ago. Why did they come? Gold. Their planet needed gold to survive, possibly to repair its atmosphere. And so the Anunnaki began mining it from Earth. But after thousands of years, their workers, the lower-ranking Anunnaki, rebelled. They refused to keep mining. Their chief scientist, a god named Enki, proposed a solution: create a new species to do the work. Using their advanced knowledge, the Anunnaki combined their own genetic material with that of a primitive earth-dwelling human, Homo erectus, through a process the tablets describe as mixing the blood of a god with clay. Does that sound familiar? The result was the first modern human. They called him Adamu. Adamu? Adam. A female was also created shortly after, mirroring the story of Eve. At first, these humans could not reproduce on their own. They were designed to be workers, not free beings. But Enki, who felt compassion for his creation, eventually gave them this ability. The human population grew, and the Anunnaki, having lost control of what they had made, eventually withdrew, leaving behind a species more powerful than they had intended. The parallels. Now, let's look at what both stories share, because the similarities are impossible to ignore. First, the name, The Sumerian first human is called Adamu. The biblical first human is called Adam. Sumer predates Genesis by over a millennium. Second, creation from clay. In Genesis, God forms man from the dust of the earth. In the Sumerian texts, humans are made by mixing divine blood with clay. Both describe the same raw material, the earth itself. Third, the Great Flood. Both traditions tell of a catastrophic flood that wiped out most of humanity. In the Bible, it is Noah. In Sumerian texts, written earlier, it is a man named Utnapishtim who builds a great boat to survive the flood sent by the gods. Fourth, God's fearing human wisdom. In Genesis, after Adam and Eve eat from the tree of knowledge, God says, "Behold, the man has become like one of us." One of us, plural. In the Anunnaki texts, the gods also fear that humans are gaining too much intelligence and independence. The question historians and theologians have wrestled with for decades is this: are these two separate stories, or are they one story, passed down through time, filtered through different cultures, different languages, and different beliefs? Whether you believe that a divine God shaped you from the dust of the earth with love and intention, or that ancient beings from another world engineered your very DNA, both stories point to the same truth. You are not an accident. Humanity was created with purpose, shaped by intelligence, set apart from every other living thing on this planet. The clay tablets of Sumer and the pages of Genesis may disagree on the details, but they agree on this: something greater than us made us. And maybe that is the most important answer of all.